And we are live. Hey, everybody. Seth Apter back for another live video on YouTube. And I am extra excited to be bringing you an extra special guest. The one, the only, the amazing, the unique, the special, the incredible, the fantastic, the phenomenal, Robyn McClendon, my good friend. How you
Yeah, oh,
doing,
thank you,
Robyn?
Seth. It's always so good to hang out with you. Boy, it's been a little while. We both been going in like direct like this, so it's nice to come
Correct.
together. Thanks for inviting me.
100%. It's selfishly wonderful for me to have you on. I know all the people who are going to watch and listen will benefit, but for me, it's like I get to hang out with one of my besties,
Yes,
and
me too.
that is just so exciting for me. And we are here to share some incredible things. I am over the moon excited for you and really for everybody who follows you because you're bringing out some unique, innovative, innovative ideas that really have grown from all the things that you've been doing before. There's this wonderful through line that you've brought to all of what you do, and we're going to talk about that. I just want to let everybody know that if you're here from Robyn's side, welcome, welcome. If you're here from my side, welcome, welcome. If you're live, leave comments, let us know what you're thinking, ask questions. If you are watching on recording, do the same in the comments. Let us know that
Yes,
you are here. And we are excited to get this party started. So I think we're just going to jump right in and not
sounds
even
good to me.
spend, 25 minutes saying hi to everybody. Just hi to everybody.
Hi,
Um,
everyone. Thank you for being
and we,
here.
we know there's more people here. So you're going to see three windows this whole time. Me, Robyn, top and bottom, and then my tabletop. And you can kind of see, if you haven't seen these already, you're going to get a peek at what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to start with a little bit of an interview. This is not a planned interview. I never have planned interviews. We are just going to start talking about this, and we may end up talking about something that does not even relate to this, but that's what we do.
That
Um,
often happens.
Often. The Silk Road Chronicles. I just got to say, before I hand the mic over to you, I am over the moon excited about these because these are different. These are unique. I am always wanting something different and unique and special and not the same old. And
Mhm.
I don't know, these are books, these are stories, these are kits, these are supplies. I tried to describe it. These, by the way, are on sale in my shop. I'm just going to throw that out there at sethafter.com.
Yes.
But I had to describe what these were, and I had a hard time because there's so much. So, kind of tell us about how this all transpired, what the original idea was, where it started, where it ended, and we'll just get into it. And anybody who has questions, I'll be monitoring the comments. I can interrupt and ask. Take it away.
Yes, well, yeah, I'm excited about all of this. This is good stuff. The way it started, it's been sort of a number of years sort of rolling into this particular project. Um, Once I started working with Schiffer Publisher and they published, my first book, um, Gel Plate Printing for Mixed Media Art, um, I really had a good working relationship with them. Things were going really great and all that kind of good stuff. So that was very fortunate. And I had this idea and I ran it by Peter, who's the owner of Schiffer. And he really liked the idea. He said, well, let's try it. Let's go for it. And it came out of this idea. And you and I have talked a little bit about this. And I know it's something that maybe a lot of you in the audience may already know, and maybe a lot of times don't even think about. But as artists, trying to have our work copyrighted and protected is difficult. And you know some of this as well, Seth. And it's not, most people who are selling products and designing products, you have some of that. And especially what happens on Temu and AliExpress, they're just straight off ripping folks off. I don't even have those apps on my phone because just having them on your phone, they have access to your photos. So that was a big thing for me. But I wanted to produce more products. Some of the product that I was producing with some of the other makers, the other companies, though we had great working relationships and what have you, other people were still in my designs and sometimes even the exact names of them.
Hmm.
So the nice thing about Schiffer, because these are published products and they're under the Schiffer banner and they have copyright, abilities globally, because they're a global, it really protects the product more. And I was really interested in that, and maybe creating this sort of business model for other artists, this idea of how can we protect our art and yet share it widely, because these projects are angel projects. I mean, our products, I want people to use them in your art, sell them, put in your books, sell them. They're designed that way to be used, because a lot of it has come from historical documents. A lot of them are me redrawing documents, and but they are designs that are timeless, but are in what I consider public domain. So because I've redrawn them or whatever, zhuzhed them, they are products that don't scream Robyn McClendon. They scream any, like a period or a cultural time, or, symbols and stuff like that. So that was kind of the impetus for it, and I really like designing stamps and stencils. I like that. But I was growing that I needed in the understanding that I needed to be able to figure out a way to protect it, but then make it a little bit more robust, like to help those who purchase the stencils sort of see how I see them and where I feel like some of it can go. So that was kind of how it started.
I love that idea that it started in a lot of ways based on the fact that you wanted to share, that
Yeah.
you wanted to provide people with these tools that they could use any way they wanted to, tools that were not screaming Robyn, but
Right.
would scream them when they used it, and in such a way to make it possible that people could have them and not have to worry about what is a big problem now, which is this theft of this kind of property.
Yeah.
Schiffer, too, for those people who don't know, Schiffer Publishing is really an incredible publishing house. I am always amazed by the level of quality and uniqueness in their books. These are not just books. The books themselves, physically how they look, are works of art.
Yes.
They did such a phenomenal job translating your first book, the gel plate book.
Yeah, they did.
So gold. I just remember that gold foil on it, and I'm like, oh my God, that screams Robyn. That's perfect. And now what they've done here. So you found a great partner for this.
Yeah,
You
I really
did.
have, and I'm really excited. And I've started seeing some of the work that people in the community has been making. They've been posting them or sending them to my email and what have you, which I invite, because I know everybody doesn't necessarily post on social media or whatever. So you can always send it to my email at info@RobynMcClendon, and I'd love to see the work everyone's doing. But it looks nothing like my stuff, or you see the inspiration, but when you look at them, you don't think like stamps or stencils from me. They just look like old documents and stuff, and that made me feel like mission accomplished.
Right.
I was so happy when I could see that.
It's really wonderful when you get that kind of feedback and you see how people are using it, and they use it in a way that you had hoped they would.
Yes. Yeah.
With their own
Definitely.
artistic voice being the most
Right.
prominent aspect.
Yes.
Which is phenomenal. Now I know you well, and I kind of know your history, and I know what you've created. So when I see these releases feel like the culmination of everything you've done in so many different areas all your life, kind of pulled together in a package that is just undeniably amazing. And the Silk Road has such a history, as does everything that you bring to the table. Can you just tell a little bit of how the idea came to you of creating it in this format?
Yes, definitely. So the Silk Road is something from the time I was a kid. We looked at all those old movies and stuff like that. I was just, Silk Road. I always wanted to go on the Silk Road. So I was always fascinated by the Silk Road. And, in my adult life, I found myself studying a lot of those cultures that kind of just sort of meandered from China all the way down, to Portugal, really. It spread, wide, because of European influence and stuff. But what I'm most interested in as a visual anthropologist and as what I call myself an archaeomythologist is that I'm always looking for the similarities in cultures and peoples, and not the differences, because I feel like our differences are so few, really, when you start looking at things from those similarities. And so in my own work, I'm always encouraging the similarities in what I'm expressing. And those who work with me, it's like, oh, let's find the similarities in our cultural heritages so that you can better find your mythos. You can better find your story. I think when we see ourselves as a part of a larger collective than when we're just sort of segmented out and then you're trying to figure out how you fit into the world. And I think that's a big challenge that everybody's dealing with right now. How do I fit into the world? Because we feel like we're so, desperately different. And so to me, the Silk Road was a perfect tool to find our ancestry, our heritage, everything about us you can find on that Silk Road, because it was so diversely influenced by many, many, many cultures and lands and what have you. So that was why I thought Silk Road, because I figured anyone working with these kids can almost instantly identify, and even maybe not in that moment, but you think about your ancestry, I have a very diverse ancestry. And so I find so much of myself in small places, and even where I don't think I'm going to find myself based on my ancestry, I do, and I think that it starts making us feel a little more global, a little bit connected more largely than sort of small in our little town, in our little studios, So
Sure, which
how Silk Road came out.
you alluded to in current times how important that is.
Yeah,
I
definitely.
also like, just from a meta level, that the Silk Road is really all about the journey, and it's all
Yes.
about the clash and the connection of cultures.
Yes.
And in a lot of ways, those of us who are creators, we're always on this journey. We're on a journey to discover more. We're on a journey to find connections and to be able to play those out in the work that we do. So I think
Yeah.
the story that you added, because this is not just a box of stencils and stamps, that's just like one part of it. The
Right.
story you added is what really pulls it together and gives it some, for lack of a better term, oomph.
Thank you.
It
Yeah.
makes it not just an art supply,
Yeah.
but really, you always talk about mythos and
Yeah.
finding our stories, which is really, I think, the core of a lot of what you do. And this tool has really helped people. Can you tell people a little bit about the booklet? I'm going to show everybody.
Yeah,
Some people here
definitely.
may have no clue what we're talking about. So I promise you, if you don't go away, I'm going to open and unbox
Yes.
both of the
Yeah.
kits, and we're going to demo and use them. But it's so important to understand what this is. This is not just an art demo today. This is about something much more significant and deeper. So how did the stories and the booklets come about?
Right. So this, just like you said, because I felt like this was a vision I had in my mind, right? So I wanted to be able to figure out how I can impart it more to those people who would come on this journey with me. So I created a storyline. The protagonist, her name is Cheyenne, and she has a familiar owl called Matus, who is very a spiritualist. He goes in and out of dimensions and all that good stuff like owls do. But I wanted to kind of create this storyline that helped people when they started working with this, when creatives and artists work with this, they could start seeing, oh, I see how she's creating this storyline. And maybe it would be a spin-off into their own storylines, or help to begin to start a story maybe completely different from mine, but just sort of see how it can develop, And so these were done as journal entries, which would make sense, but just sort of, and it's written in retrospect. So it's written when she's back from this year-long journey along the Silk Road, and she's going through documents, she's going through stuff, and she's recounting what she found. She's recounting some of, because of course it has some spiritualism in it, Robyn. So it really was, but with your background, I think you really get at this idea of how you can travel and how it can transform it. You can see your pain, you can see your happiness, you can see these things. You start opening up to yourself. And I'm hoping also that this journey will stimulate, around the mythos of the creators and the individuals who are working with it, this idea of looking at the good, and to use, duality, the good and the bad, or, looking at the positive and the negative from the standpoint of just polarities, not like good or bad.
Right.
Because sometimes I think when we can create our mythos from a place of power, like really saying, this is what happened and that sort of sucked, but then over here, this happened as a result of it, and that was pretty cool, and I think that's what this storyline tries to begin to project, this idea that Cheyenne kind of goes in and out of dimensions where she's learning more about herself, like from her ancestry. So that's kind of how that came about. Like, I wanted to sort of be the example for how we can create story in our journaling. And then the other thing is your buddy and a favorite artist of yours, Nick Bantock, has always been one of mine as well. When I started in book arts in the 80s, Nick Bantock was out there like all of us, doing his style books. And he was one of the first to get a publishing deal where his books got published. Like, they were like the books, just like the ones he was making with all the inserts and stuff. And I always looked at Nick and thought, wow, that is so cool. I love his work. And I love his Griffin and Sabine. So the Griffin and Sabine inspired me in this particular series, which is why even at the back of the book, when you go to show it, that's that envelope pull out. That's an absolute nod to Nick Bantock. And I say that openly because he inspired me in the early book arts days. And so I was really happy that the publisher was open to being able to integrate that, because I think that that's where some of the magic comes in book arts. I also wanted to introduce a little bit of book arts into these guidebooks as well, that idea.
Well, I love that. I mean, one of the things that I admire so much about you, really love about you, is your authenticity. And, when a person is authentic, they're also inconsistently consistent. There's always polarities and everything, but you are so true to yourself and the way in which you share and tell your story and try to help other people tell their stories, and pulling from your influences, which is what we all do, allowed you to create this. And then now all these people who are going to be using their kits are going to be pulling from your influence and giving a nod to you, even if it's, not exactly your style. I kind of want to, I'm not done with the interview, but I want to show everybody. So
let's show folks. I know they want to see them too.
I'm just going to start with a front-facing camera. So there's two kits. There's Silk Road Chronicles European scripts, which is that one, and there's Silk Road Chronicle Asian scripts, and it is just a gorgeous piece of art. The container. Like, when this is on your shelf or on your table, it's just phenomenal. So it comes with,
and it was a no waste project. Schiffer really really honored that. I wanted it to be no waste. I wanted that, when you use this, everything is usable. I even say, even when you take that wrapper off, the backside is nice white cardboard. You can use that to stamp on it and use it in your projects. But
I love that. This just itself, I mean, this is you and Schiffer, the combination of quality and quality. It's just incredible.
They did.
But wait, there's more, because it opens, and it opens with a hidden magnetic closure, my friends. It's not, there's no snaps here. This is amazingness. And then it opens, and it's a book that opens to a book. I mean, it just, honestly, when I open this, the first time even though I knew what was in it, it was just so overwhelming to me to see it. So you have this amazing book. So this is the Silk Road Chronicles Story and Project Guidebook. So this is, described by Schiffer as sort of a 32-page instructional booklet. It is so much more than that, because this is where the beauty of the story comes out. So you can just see, I'm going to pop through. There's a little bit about Asian scripts, about the Silk Road journey, and then the journal entries. And I just love it. It's old type font, and your gorgeous artwork, and then the stories. I mean, they're amazing stories. There's the owl,
Yeah, Matus.
and owls have so much meaning.
Yeah, they
And then a
do.
step-by-step guide talks about what is inside, what you can do with it, how you can use these stamps. These are special stamps. They're foam stamps. Not everybody
Mhm,
has used foam stamps. Technique
mhm.
2 is using bottled ink, which I think you might be doing a little
Yeah,
bit
I'll
today.
show some of that. Yeah, I like that.
Yep. Acrylic paint, gel plate, Play-Doh, Play-Doh,
Yeah,
Play-Doh, people. We all know and love Play-Doh if we're of a
yeah,
certain age. And
yes.
when's the last time you saw somebody in our community use Play-Doh, stencils and masks? I mean, it's just phenomenal. And there it is. There it is. The interactive element, which just ties it to history, ties it to the future. I'm not going to take this out because I want some secrets left for you. So I don't want you to see quite what it is. But that is the Asian one. That's just the book. Then you lift this up, and what do you have? You have the stencils. They're in a
Yes.
beautiful envelope. I mean, this is serious quality.
Which is what, and that can be reused. So we even talked about that. I said, let's do a glassine envelope because we all love glassine envelopes. So,
For sure.
mhm,
And then we have, oh my God, I love these. You can see them very clearly. So these are the Asian script stencils.
mhm.
Amongst my favorite parts, anybody who knows me will know, look at how uneven and jagged and natural and organic the lines are. These are
Yeah,
not squared off lines. Love it. But wait,
yeah,
there's
they
more.
really worked with that. We had so many iterations of stamps and stencils, just trying to get the right company and get the right thing, but yeah, they were really good with that.
Well, you did. And then this is hard to read. There you go. But
Yeah.
these are the foam stamps. So we're going to flip them out. They come in their own little package, which I love. And they pop out, and then you can use them. And we will demo with these today. So this is just one of the two.
Yeah.
This is the Asian scripts. I'm just going to quickly
Yeah,
show
let's
you
do
the
the
other
other
one
one. Yeah. And I
because
think
it's,
while you're opening that, one of the things, even with the owl Matus, when I was working on this project, which was like almost 2 years ago now, when you first start these things, you know how that goes. Um,
I
I had
sure
this
do.
owl that just seemed like it was following me everywhere, even in my morning walks. He'd be up in the tree looking at me, and he would be
Wow.
hooting at night. And he was such a constant companion when I was writing and working on this that's part of the reason, or one of the reasons why he made the way into the book.
I absolutely love that. Owls have so much symbolism
They
behind
really
them.
do.
Robyn, I don't know if I ever told you this story. We're gonna go left instead of right.
Yeah, please.
So I live in many of you know I live in New York City. I live on the
Right.
29th floor. I see creatures sometimes. I live in New York, so we get rats and
All kind of
roaches
things.
and
Yeah.
yeah, all kinds of things. Not necessarily on the 29th floor outside, but I would say it was about 3 years ago, and I walked into my kitchen
Hmm.
and stopped short of my tracks because there was an owl on the 29th floor perched
What?
outside my kitchen window.
Whoa.
I could not believe it. It just felt like it was bringing me a message. And what did I
Yes.
do? Of course, I couldn't just live in the moment. I slowly reached into my pocket to grab my cell phone, and as I had that movement, it
It
went.
moved.
But I just felt like it was such a gift.
I
So
got chills
this
when you
is
said that. The 29th floor, that was
yeah.
purposeful because it's
I
not
mean,
like they're on the
no,
29th floor.
yeah, and I mean, there's not that many owls hanging out in New York City.
Yeah. Number
Not too
one.
many. Exactly.
That's good
So here
stuff.
are the stencils. This is again for the Europeans. Oh my God, look at that, guys. I did not open this package before. I wanted to
Hmm.
save one for a true reveal. Phenomenal and so different from the Asian ones.
Yeah.
Just
And both of
gorgeous.
those are my scripting that I've worked into stencils.
Your intuitive scripting,
Hmm.
which is a story unto itself. And then we have, I think there's 8 in this and 7 in the other.
Yeah.
There
I'm
we
like,
go.
they
You can
wanted to
see it.
keep even numbers, but I was about filling up the foam. I'm like, well, some things may be smaller. So as long as we can fill up the foam, nobody's going to be upset about getting more.
We
7
need to
is the
make it.
benchmark, for
We
them.
need to make you a T-shirt that says "Fill up the foam."
Fill up the foam. And then
One of the
also the
things. Oh,
storybooks are
go ahead.
different. So the story guides, every story guide is different and it builds on the last one. So the story continues.
Oh, phenomenal. So you
So
need
there's,
to get both kits to get
yeah, because the
multiple
story
journal entries.
keeps going. Yeah. And the
Clever.
cool thing about it is that you're right that, these for, when you think about business and art. So the business side of it is that Schiffer needs to put some kind of guidebooks or instruction books in their kits. That's what's done. Most people do that. And
Sure.
I talked with them. I convinced them that that's a waste of space. I mean, let's do that, but we can make this a storybook or a guidebook as well, because we can fill all those pages up with art and all that good stuff. So it becomes more than that. And they really liked the idea and really ran with it. It
Yeah.
started off as being a 16-page book, but my editor, you've met her before, Sandra. She's lovely.
Yep.
She's just the best. She's just made this whole thing so wonderful. She's added more pages. She said, well, we can put more pages in it because it just gives us an opportunity for a little bit more. So, and
there's
I had
32 pages. 32 pages.
Yeah. And I had
in
to
each
cut
book.
the story. I had to condense it because I think for each book, I probably had more like 2,000 words or something like that, but we cut them down to 750 to 800. So yeah, just getting everything to fit in there because, I had more stuff than not.
So what that tells me is that we have to make sure that people buy these, because I want more of the story.
And that's how it works in the publishing business. We have more set to go, but everything is based on sales. So
sure.
As these sell and people enjoy them, and also when you purchase them, the main place, with Seth here, please do, because we always want to support artists and small and all that. You can always still leave a review on Amazon, and that always helps, with stuff.
That makes it, for those of you out there who aren't involved in the business side of it, a tremendous difference is made when a review is left. That matters in terms of, that thing that we never like to really focus on, the algorithm. So yeah, I adore that you also differentiated the two kits by color.
Right. Yeah.
And I mean, such beautiful colors, but this kit, you look at the imagery on it, you can't mistake it for this kit.
Yeah, exactly.
Before we leap into some making, I want to step ahead because I know not everybody, shockingly, will stay for the entire video. And I want people to know that you've already thought about the through line way past this, because you are now offering, I think, two. Janine recently put in the links, but two adventures, real life adventures. So could you just mention that? So
yeah,
for
definitely.
Those,
I've always wanted to, I love the Silk Road. I've always wanted to travel on the Silk Road. So I was able to, I was invited by Michelle Fletcher at Atelier, and she's done, she does these trips to Morocco all the time, about a year ago. So we scheduled that one. And so we'll be in September, we'll be going to Morocco on like 14-day excursion. And she just sets up the best trips. And then we'll be in her Riyadh, and we'll do the 4 days of, jelly printing and working with, things in our journals and what have you. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And then we have the first trip is Uzbekistan, which is in the end of March, early April. And that's also led by an amazing woman who knows the area very, very well. She puts a lot of these kind of trips together. And that one is priced really, really well. I mean, for what you're going to get for that, if you've ever wanted to go to that part of the world and travel with like-minded, it's just amazing. So now we have more coming. We'll be doing in Nepal. There's some other places we're going to be doing, but that's where 2026 is right now. And I'm very excited about that. And that more of that information can be found on my new website because
newsflash.
I still have robynmcclendon.com. That's really focused on art and when you guys go to it, you're going to see the trips are there as well. It's under workshops, but Gaia Mythos, Gaia Mythos, Mythos, is where I'm sort of taking a little turn, and my community for many years have asked me to do more spirituality with art. And that's a big part of my whole entire journey. I've always had this spirituality mixed in. And so that one's going to bring in more stuff like radical self-love, and we're still going to be doing journaling. We'll still bring creativity in, but we'll just take deeper dives down around our mythos and our stories and etc. But the workshops are over there. I mean, the trips are over there as well. It says Silk Road Expeditions.
Excellent. Janine just put the link in. I just love the idea that, in my mind, what I feel like it's literally these kits come to life.
Yeah, they come to life. Yeah, it'll
come
be
to life, and
experiencing them.
yeah, and seeing
sort of
that part
seeing
of
them
the
through
world.
the eye of the through the eye of the artist, because the
Exactly.
way I see symbols and the way I pull things out, I get the opportunity to share that with those who come on the journey, because they'll start, like, symbols will start talking to you too. When you sort of see them the way I sort of see them, and I want to show people and kind of teach that process, and then your own storyline, your own palettes. I mean, these places will be rich in palettes. We'll also study palettes and stuff like that in what we're doing to really help people connect deeper into the creative self. And Seth, yourself, when you take trips, when you kind of get out of your environment and go somewhere, it's like a whole nother part of you starts talking to you, and you discover. And I think when you go to places that are least traveled, there's more opportunity for discovery, because you're not expecting the standard thing like the Eiffel Tower or Big Ben, and those are all fine, but you can get out of just generic expectations.
Sure, it's really true discovery.
Yeah, true discovery.
It's a trip. Sounds to me like both of them where you'll be lost.
Yeah.
As you're found. You're in a safe place. Right. You're not getting literally lost, but to be lost in an environment that can really pull something out of you that might be there, or bring something new to you that blends with what you already have in terms of an artist's voice.
Right. And it's a safe way to travel, because you're with people who are experienced. They do this all the time. Exactly. They know the language. And, like, as much as I wanted to go to places like Uzbekistan, I've never just got on a plane and gone, because I don't know language, I don't know anything. So it just makes it nicer.
This is really a safe way to do it.
Yes,
for sure.
And a fun way, yeah. Because if you don't know the language and stuff like that, it can be a little difficult.
Sure, a little daunting. Before we shift over, and basically you're going to guide people through some things while I'm in the window next to you, exploring and making with this kit for the first time. Yeah. But is there anything you'd like to add before we do that to the story about the project, or anything else you want to share?
No, I mean, I think you covered things well. Were there any questions in the audience? I haven't had a chance to look at that, but whatever people want to ask, I'm open to that. But I think, we got the overarching idea behind the kits, and that I wanted to be something that really encourages people. I'm really big on, creatives creating their own storylines and not feeling that imposter syndrome and all this other stuff that's going on out there. And I think sometimes if you go real far right or real far left, you find a happy spot than when you try to stay in the middle and try to please everyone. So I'm hoping that these kits will inspire that as well. But yeah.
Love that.
I think that's good.
All right. So you're going to still see me.
I'll put mine down.
The way mine is set up is I can add this, but every time I take that off, I lose my volume. So ignore me and watch these two windows. Yep.
Yeah. So I'm just looking at this. Okay. So one of the things I want to start off by showing is that I developed a whole new collage style for myself, because I really wanted it to be reflective of how I was seeing the Silk Road, what I was feeling. And I just had these ideas around. Some of my favorite styles are mail art and field notes, journaling, and then of course my scripting. So this is an example of some of the collages that were similar to what I was doing in the book. This is one I just did recently, but you can see where there's plants, there's stamps, scripting, but this, all of these were created by the kit. And even though they don't look like it, using different, they look like they could have just come off of some old documents. Part of it had to do with, of course, the way I was creating the stamps. I was making sure, let me pull some of them out because I have them here. I wanted to make sure that as a book artist, I knew that scale means a lot. So I wanted to make sure that you guys got stamps that could not only work on a piece of art, right, but that was the right size to fit inside of a book so that it looked authentic. It looked like, okay, that could have really been something that happened on the page versus a stamp that was too small or too big. So scale was a really big part of these stamps. The other thing is that I also made them so they were slightly fuzzy. So, I mean, that looks like Asian script, right? Or that looks like European script. But of course, we don't want it readable. And we want it to look different every time. So, and it's funny because with the publisher, they kept on, when the stamps came back, they were like, I'm like, those are just they're too accurate. We need them a little bit more. And we must have done, I know, 4 iterations of the first kit just to try to get it right. And then once they figured out, oh, she wants things really fuzzy, distinct, but then we were cooking with gas. But so that was one of the things I want to point out. I've also been working in this journal that I created that I wanted to look like it was created so that it sort of mimics something that maybe Cheyenne would have found on the Silk Road. I mean, these fabrics are, things are ripping, and I purposely wanted, this is some sort of dry rotted fabric I found, but, and so it, the storyline, so I'm creating another journal that really continues to embrace the elements of the kit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how, like, some of the ways I've been working with this. I think that can be a lot of fun. I'll put this here.
That book that you just showed is a thing of beauty.
Oh, thank you, Seth. Yeah, I love this. This is kind of a book style that I kind of made up in my mind, where it's sewn. It's sewn not on tapes, but as if it were on tapes. But then I use book scrim to bind it and hold it together and then get it into the cover, which is also canvas. So just sort of kind of gave it that organic, but it's a good structure. It'll open flat and all that kind of stuff I always like. So let's do some stuff here. One of the things that I've been working on, and where did I put them? They should be right here. I mean, I clean up and then I can't find things. One of the things I've been doing is printing on, these are like on gel prints that are using either, I've been using your fresco paints. Also the fresco paints, the Blick matte acrylics, the matte acrylics, or a chalk paint, because it makes that chalky finish so that when you stamp in it with wet inks, which I'm going to show everyone, they just bleed and do some really cool things. So this is just a sample of it. This is on white. And you see it just starts making this sort of different quality.
Gorgeous.
To the print. So, working on gel prints, this is another one. You know what this is? This is actually your orange. The orange one that you have in Paper Artsy, and it's the brown mixed together, made this color.
I love that. I just have to say, it looks, job well done, because it looks like a document that was unearthed, and having been somewhere for the last 200 years.
Right. And I just made this recently, and it's on this, you can use tracing paper or anything. This is that medical strength paper I like. You can use wet strength paper as well, but it's literally on this paper that if I coffee stain that paper, it'll look like this. So what I do is I take the paper, I coffee stain it, and then so I get this really good color. So it already has that sort of old world approach to it. And then we could begin printing. So I'm gonna get some of these gel prints out the way. I just wanted to have some stuff here to show everyone. Um, these are some of the prints. These are actually after prints where we're still a lot of ink on the plate. And I just laid them down and let them stay there. And because this paper is wet strength and the Mylar on the stencils, I let it dry and then I pulled it off. So, you know, no paint wasted, but these are some.
No paint was harmed in the making of this paper?
No paint was harmed in the making of this. Exactly. So the other thing I want to show you all, it's something that this is the wet strength paper that's been stained. And then you can start seeing how the stamps sort of bleed nicely. Just kind of get some really cool qualities. So that's that. You know, you can see I just stamped the papers up. So I'm going to show you how that's done. And then I also work on the larger sheets. So just working on a larger sheet on an 8x10 plate. These are all the background are the stencils that I've used to kind of build up these layers. And then I came back with the stamps and just stamped them in different places. So you can get really these really cool buildups and have papers that are sized so that you can decide how you want to fold them down, or you might want to use them as a larger piece, or, you know, it could become a cover of something that then you glue on.
You could also tear that up and use it as a collage elements.
Exactly, as collage elements. And this is the European kit, and this in terms of the stencils, and this is the Asian kit in terms of stencils, and this is on brown packing paper. And then I intermixed the Asian with some of the European. I kind of go back and forth, but
I love that idea.
Kind of see that. So let's get, okay, I have these. Now the other thing I want to show you guys are, we'll do it two different ways, but these little pieces, why can't I find them? These are actually, I know they have the box right here. Oh, here they are. Yay. These are for women out here who remember the curler days. These are end papers. So those are end papers that you used to kind of wrap around your curlers or your rods and what have you when you were getting the curly permy things and all that kind of stuff. Well, one of the women in my community, she was at one of my workshops and she had gotten some of these. She said, I got these for us to try. And I'm like, what? I never even thought about them, but they're wet strength. They're literally wet strength. And the box is like $4 and you get 1,000 pieces in there.
1,000?
Yeah, there's 1,000 sheets in here. And goodness, I mean, like that's some seriously cheap wet strength. So what I've been doing is I'll normally, because I keep my coffee bottle on the table, and you know it stays good if you just put a little bit of alcohol in it. It doesn't go bad. And so then literally, you know, you can just really just spray these. I just do it really quickly with my spray bottle. You know, I don't make a big thing of it because it's enough to just get that coffee stain in there. I'm on camera still, aren't I?
You are, and I'm loving it.
Okay, good. And so I just stain these up like this and then just put them aside to let them dry. And they're ready to go. So super easy. And then they'll end up looking like this. So they'll end up being sort of this kind of creamy color, just like that I've been using in my art. And then you can take that and start stamping them. So we're going to do some of that because I have some.
And there's some beautiful transparency in those as well.
Yeah, because they're the ones that give us, like on this piece of, like this piece that I showed you. I mean, you get this amazing kind of layering and transparency. When you glue them down, it just goes right to the back, and you can start seeing what's underneath it as well. So that stuff is good. Now let me just find, I know I have some of these. Oh, here they are, already stained. Because I make so many of these, and then I just grab them and use them. Hopefully these aren't all stained. I like my ink blots, so I'll take some of those and stamp them.
That is just looking like the best pile ever.
You know, this is all our good fodder, right? So I keep
Yes.
those going. So let's start off with, because you can do them on the white and then stamp them too. It's just your call. But I have a tendency to stain them first. I am using, so this one process I want to show everyone is I like using the these indelible inks. So this one is the Irashizuki brand, and they are permanent inks because any fountain pen ink these days are indelible, meaning they're permanent. So once they dry, they are not going to bleed. So you can use this, you can use India inks, you can use acrylic inks like F&W, or the other one is, you guys know it. It just escaped me. But anything that's a permanent ink, once you use them, let's move this out the way. You can cut and stay, do anything, and
Sure. There's no movement at all.
there's no movement. You don't have to worry about that. So let me get some of these out the way, and I'll show you how I start off stamping. Let me take just a scrap piece here, just to kind of work on top of it, because my surface that's underneath here, this paper is a really heavy wax paper, so ink and stuff will just lay on it. So I need something to be a little bit more absorbent.
One of the things I absolutely love, no matter what you are demonstrating, you have the most wide range of paper types and substance types, medium types. It's incredible what you've explored. It's amazing, really, truly, because you can learn so much just by watching one of your videos. There's now 50 more things I need to buy.
Yeah. I'm definitely I've been accused in my community of definitely being an enabler.
You know, I'm not mad about that. I'm not. I'm just not.
Like in a good way, right?
Exactly.
So let me just get this brush a little wet. Oh, okay. So one of the things that I love to do is take the ink. You can take any kind of paintbrush. It doesn't have to be a sooty brush. And what I'm doing is I just kind of rub it right on the top of the stencil. I mean, on the stamp. You don't need a lot, believe me. Now I'm going to show you what it does on these over here. What it'll do on just straight tissue paper with no paint or anything on it. So it'll just start bleeding into the paper. You see how it just keeps on bleeding? And to me, that gives the fountain pen look. That makes it look like the document was was scripted with real ink. And then it'll still be, the stamp really gives a lot. These stamps, I really haven't worked with foam stamps before. I really searched for a foam that was strong, was a little harder, so that they work with inks, they work with the stamp pads, they work with block printing inks, because this is like a hard block. You can literally run block printing ink over it and print with them. Of course, acrylics, but they're a very sturdy stamp. And I went through probably about, I don't know, 4 or 5 different types, styles of this stamp to find.
I'm using them now, and I feel it.
Can't you feel the difference?
There's enough give, but not a lot of give. They're not squishy at all. Which I love. There's also just a quick question. I know I'm interrupting your process. Is the white paper medical paper?
Yeah, it's medical strength paper, and I'll make sure that I share. Oh gosh, I was trying to get that phone turned off. I'll make sure that I share a link with you.
Excellent.
Because it comes on a roll. Like, so this is a whole roll. Look how much is on there. And I think the rolls are like $10, or they're really inexpensive for the amount that you're going to get. So you can see from where the first one is to that third one, a little less bleeding. Now, let me just show you with a stamp pad. So I have a red one here. So you can sort of see the difference. When you really want a really clear, like there, some occasions where you really want, and I'll kind of go back and forth. I'll play with both. Then you'll get a nice crisp print.
So depending upon the medium you use with the foam stamps, you can get something crisp and clear, or something that's a little more fuzzy and hazy.
You can see it looks like that. If you use the bottle ink, it's going to be like that. So I like the difference in those qualities a lot.
Yeah.
So definitely stamp pads are fab. So I wanted to show you that on paper that's not treated. Now this is paper that I gel printed a single color on, and this is sort of your fresco chalk paint type of surfaces. So they're real chalky. So let's get another one. Let's get this one. Once again. And you really don't need a lot, because the paint is going to lay, the ink is going to lay right on the top. So now when you put it on top of these chalky surfaces, what I like is that they're going to start absorbing into there, but because it's enough sort of chalky surface there, they kind of just bleed into it. And then when it's dry, it looks like what I showed earlier, which is, it looks more like this, where it really just bleeds into there and just gives a different quality to that document.
It does look like it's part of the paper.
Yeah. And then the other thing, of course, I always remind people of, because it's easy to forget. I know I'm digging over here in my box. It's easy to forget, because I sometimes will forget when I go to ink. One of the ways I also make stamps look different is, okay, this is a European. So why not just, let me get some blue here. I'll use this one. Remember, you can just do part of the stamp. So let's say I'm working on one of these end papers. Oh goodness. And I want to stamp. I'm going to use a number of stamps now. So I want to kind of create something that looks maybe a little mail arty, and looks like an element that I can use. One of the stamps is one of my scripting. It's the European script, but I did it in such a way that you can go top to bottom, or you can go from side to side on this particular one. I don't know, can you see it? It's hard to get the light right.
It's hard to get it unless there's paint on it. Yeah, but we can see it.
You can see it some, yeah.
Generally,
and I'll stamp it. So I just also will stamp just for certain portions of. So I'll just put enough ink on just a portion of it, and then stamp it. And that way you don't have to worry about it being all over. You can kind of pretty much put just a bit down. We'll do some of that over here. And you can see how it starts bleeding into this paper nicely.
Really nicely.
Yeah, because you just want a hint of the thing. You don't want it to look like full on. And so, you can kind of move around the stamp and grab different portions of it. I'll also do the full stamp so you can see it for those of you who have. And in the European, there's two different sections of this Euro script. That's one. And then I have a smaller one here. I changed the weight of the lines so that, can give a different quality. And when you take bits and pieces of it and work with them, they look different, which is good.
Absolutely. So, it's one of the best ways for people to use a commercial stamp
Yeah,
that someone else designed and make it 100% their own.
it really is. And sometimes we can forget that, right? So then in
Exactly.
the European kit, there's a number of seals, postal kind of seals. And the reason why I was so keen on this, and there's one in the Asian one as well, is because I was always looking for sort of authentic looking kind of stamps that didn't look sort of made up postal. I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to look like
Mm-hmm.
an original document or something.
Right.
And so that's why I was wanting to get those in the kit, because I feel like it's something that you're really not seeing everywhere. They're kind of hard to come across them. So if you
Yeah,
guys are
and
like me,
you want something legit
yeah,
that looks
exactly.
legit.
Exactly. So you can see how that really bled on there. But
Yeah.
there's a lot on there. So if I take that same stamp, there's enough that you can get a clear print. So, just I have a lot of paper sitting out and I just print up a lot of stuff. Now let me show you this. It's something I like to do where you can oh, I love this. I just love it when it gets all yummy like that, because then you can tear the pieces, you can take sections of it. And when you start putting that kind of stuff down, it looks like a legitimate document. And I have some documents here somewhere that are, let me get them, that are actually documents from the early 1900s and late 1800s. And it's amazing how, here's one of them, how close these papers look to, I mean, like this is a document from late 1800s, and this is the one that I just stained.
Right.
I mean, look at that.
Yeah, it's
They flow so
perfectly
nicely
imperfect.
together. Like you wouldn't
Yeah,
know.
you could glue that on and no one would know that it wasn't originally part of it.
Right. So that was the thing of trying to find the images for the stamps, but then techniques that are easily duplicated, inexpensive papers, but easily duplicated techniques, so that, because one of the things I hear a lot, and I'm sure you hear it a lot too in your community, is that, everybody can't get out to find these crazy vintage papers, and, and sometimes they're very expensive and they can't afford to,
Yes.
to get them. So I wanted to try to solve that problem as well, or that, that challenge.
Well, there's
Look at
also
you.
something very
I'm sorry.
special about, oh yeah, I'm just having a ball here. There's also something
Yeah.
special about
Ooh.
creating something yourself.
Yeah, it is.
I absolutely adore originals. I never photocopy. I always use the original once. It makes
Yeah.
it more special. But when I do something from my own hand, it just has more meaning.
Yeah, it does. Now, what's that color you're using there? I love that color.
So this is Admiral.
I don't have that.
That's for my newest set.
I got to get online and get some
Yeah.
of these. I like that because I love these fresco paints, but I love that color.
Well,
Whoa.
the person, I know the person. We can, my people will talk to
We
your
know the
people.
people.
We know the people, yeah.
You're the best.
Exactly.
So here, so this is another one of those little symbols that kind of came off of a document. I loved it. But one of the things I like to do with this is I'm going to use some of this sort of navy blue color. I had plenty on this brush. You do not need a lot to fill these up. So I'll put it down. I'll let that dry, and then I'll come back and show you one of the things I absolutely love doing. We also have this little seal. This is like off of a envelope, an old Asian document. And we can let's take one of these and start over stamping. So that's another like little seal. And sometimes I'll stamp several in a row because then I can tear them. So you can use these as little mini collage pieces.
Right.
And also the cool thing about these, when you make a lot of these, if you're trying to figure out where to put them, you can put them back inside the box and use it as a storage thing too, so that you can find things when you're, when you're looking for stuff.
No, that's just brilliant.
Because it kind of helps to keep up with things, So, okay, now this is basically dry. Oh, like I want to show you guys so much. We don't have so much time. But, you know, I love this. So now I'm going to take like a gold. This is a gold Sumi ink that I use, but these are kind of expensive. You don't have to get this one, but any gold ink or paint that you have will do this. So I'll just put a little bit out on the table so I can grab this. Come on out. I know you're in there. And then a big wad will come out. Don't you love that?
Yes, that's what always happens. An uncontrollable amount.
Yeah, you know, so of course now this is stopped up. I have the silver. Let's do the silver. I don't think the silver is. It should come out. I've just got to get a pen in that. I don't have one. You have to shake these up because they're like a little ball in there that you need to hear it moving.
Yep.
This was taken. I'd shaken the gold up because I was expecting, oh, I'm going to use the gold. So let me see if that's enough to. I love the silver too. It's more like a pewter almost. It's really good.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Mm-hmm. What did you just do?
Oh, I was talking about the idea of the fact that the silver is more like a pewter.
Yeah, it's really good. So then I take that same stamp, which, where did I put it? Oh, here it is. So I'll take that same stamp and then you just want to, I like these soft bristles because you can just lay it right on the top. That way you're not getting it in so many places that you get a lot of over painting, which is another reason why I like doing them like this, the brush. And then what I do is I just kind of off center, kind of like a drop shadow. So I sort of just look at it and sort of see where I'm kind of off a little bit, and then I stamp it. And when it dries, it really pops. But then that's how you get that sort of emblem or that sort of stamped detail. Can you see it? What's wrong with me and my camera? Oh, there we go.
No, I see it. Yep. It's the light when the light misses it. But then when it catches the light, it's just unexpected and gorgeous.
Right. So I wanted to show that because one of those things I kind of happened upon and thought, oh, I really like this, you know. So I use it a lot in my when I'm working. Now, one of the things when I use certain inks and paints, when you're using just ink, you're good. This particular one has a little bit more of a binder in it, so I just take it and float it in water a little bit. But any of these inks I've been using, you don't have to worry about cleaning them. I mean, you can clean them, but I have a tendency not to clean them because I'm gonna go ahead and stamp this one. Because
you and I are so alike.
Huh?
You and I are so alike.
Yeah, because I like to come back to it, and then a new color comes up, and you kind of color mix. You know, you're like, "Ooh, look
correct."
That's
you don't quite know what you're going to get, but sometimes you get the most amazing mix that you never would have done.
You would never
not happen. Yeah,
exactly. I absolutely love that. So let me clean this off a little bit because I've got more water on it than what I want, and you can see that you just need the least amount of paint of ink on these. And when you start working with this yourself, you guys will see the adjustment that you need to make. But
yeah, it just takes a little play and practice, and honestly, there's nothing better than that.
Exactly. So this one can go either way. It can go straight across and sort of create this sort of scripting that goes across. Now, normally my
sure
thing is on silent, but today, of course, half the time I'm missing people because it never rings. And the day is ringing. Okay, so then you can also do lengthwise. So this stamp can go in both directions. So I'd probably come back and sort of overstamp in an area like this, which I like to do. and you start just getting these layers, sort of palimpsests to begin to build up. And I'm really fond of that as well. Oh, and this one is good. Now I like to use some of this chalk paste on these.
You have my attention. Chalk paste.
Yeah, the chop, for
Oh yeah. Oh,
chops.
chop paste. Yep.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Right.
No, you said it. I heard chalk, but
Like for
chop.
these little chops.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I love using that paste for like ones that look like seals.
Mm-hmm.
Because then we can come back over in here somewhere and stamp. And you get the perfect little chop.
Oh yes.
Right
Look at the layers you've created.
Yeah.
I've sort of been half focused on you, half focused on the mess that I'm making. And every time I look up, it has gotten better and better and more real, if you know what I mean. Like, going and layering and adding the details and shifting the materials, it makes it look like it is just been literally from an office or a castle or years and years ago and just developed over time.
Yeah. And to your point, what you just said is so key. The idea of when you shift materials, and not use all the same thing, that's where you get the diversity, because everything is going to do something a little different. So I could have used my red stamp pad, and if that's what you have, you can use it, but chalk paste does a whole nother thing. And so I really like using that. I'm gonna do this one. This one is pretty dynamic. Let me get a little bit of, this is from the Asian kit. I'm loving what you're doing over there. Gosh.
Oh, the more I focus on you, the better this is, because then I'm not thinking about what I'm making.
So I know what you mean.
I don't know what I'm going to do when you're not here the next time I start making work. We're just going to leave this on 24/7.
Yeah. Your brilliance will definitely come out, because the stuff I see you do, I'm always like, oh my God, I love that. Especially your texture, your layers and stuff. So good. So
for me, the more you let go, and the more you play and experiment, which is exactly what you're doing.
Right.
You're demoing, and yet in the demo,
you still experiment. You still try stuff.
Yes, and you're just bringing out so many different things, and they're all working.
And that's what I do. Like, even when I'm to develop these kits and to do, I just kept on playing and just doing different things and figuring out. And I wanted them to be diverse enough that, I want to show you. So I got that one there. So I can still have some silver over here. Might as well use it up. So here again, we can just layer it on top of here. And it really just takes this to another level. Oh, I also want to show you, if you use like any of the black tissue papers or thin papers and stuff, I really, that also will give you, like I stamped with gold on here, just the gold.
Oh, that is so dynamic.
Look at that. Like, that just becomes a piece of collage ready to go. Just on this
that's spectacular. It's very regal looking.
Yeah.
Can while you're demoing, I know you have
go ahead,
a point you're making with the product. I wanted to ask like a practical question. So for the people who, I recognize that these are based in real calligraphy, and you've put your twist on them. So for the people who are unfamiliar with a certain language, and they're using stamps, collage material, text, I'm just curious what your opinion or feeling is about, do they need to research? Is it going in the right direction? Is it okay to use it as a design element, not knowing if you know that it's on the sideways or it's going upside down? Like, I'm just curious. Everybody has an opinion. No one's right or wrong. I'm just
right. No, but it's still a really good question.
Right. But, I'm curious what you think.
I just go in whatever direction I think it looks good. Like, because I'm not worried about it as a language. I mean, we're using it as a design element. So
Hmm.
sometimes I'll put my things upside down if I think it looks better that way.
Right.
Um, or sometimes I work on stuff where things are going in a lot of different directions, like this, so
Right.
I don't have to worry about it. It's like when I did this piece right here, I stamped in so many different directions,
Right.
so that when you go to take sections of it, it won't matter because it's up, down,
Right.
it's right, left. So I'll do that a lot of times. But yeah, I kind of just go with the aesthetics of it,
So
you
it's
know?
using the design of the language as a detail to add to your work, just like you might use something that was completely abstract.
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Okay.
That's how I look at it. And the other thing to also, because when you were asking that question, it had me thinking about that either a lot of these languages are either so blurry that you're not going to be able to
Hmm.
really read what it says. And
Right.
then any of the Asian things that are like pretty, where you can sort of read it a little bit more, they're from documents that are like 18th century. Most of these came out of very old documents. And so even the language, even the current people who speak
Oh,
Mandarin
yeah.
or something currently would look at this and try to figure out what it says, because I've asked people
Right.
who do read that.
Got
And
it.
then also I made sure that I took it from like medical documents or documents of people's names, or like generic documents. So you don't have to worry about saying anything naughty
Right. Got it.
in here, because
Well, that
or
is a
something
concern.
controversial or
Yeah.
whatever. Um, I'll just read proper and placed like it actually is written. Art, yeah, definitely artist choice. I think was asking. I think that might have been what you read. I think it's artist choice personally, because we're
Right.
creating art. We're not trying to create something for somebody to read. I mean, unless you
Right.
are. If you are, then of course you would have the answer to that. But my thing is that it's art. We're sort of creating our own connection to the language. And we're really,
Right.
for me, it's like language as symbols, not as they're symbols and not to be coherent,
Hmm.
expressions of coherent thought.
Right.
So that's how I single it out.
I mean,
Now
I
this
see it
one,
that
right?
way as well.
Yeah, do you?
Um, Personally, I do. And, there are times when I use the English language and I collage it upside down or
Yeah,
sideways. And because I just think text is symbolic. And it is the
yeah,
symbolism, it's the beauty of the written
yeah,
form that is what really appeals to me and usually brings me into wanting to share it.
yeah.
Obviously
And
sometimes, go
oh, go
ahead.
ahead. No, go
I was
ahead.
going to say,
Take
just
time.
obviously sometimes, I want a word to express something. I'm using it specifically because the word dream, because I want to say the word dream. But many,
Right.
many times for me, it's a circle, it's an X,
Yeah.
and that's all it is. It's not the beginning of a word or a letter in a specific word.
Yeah, we're definitely kindred spirits on that one, because that's how I look at it. You use a word where you want to use it, but my early days in art I was in graphic design, and a big part of that was always typography. And really, artists that were using typography in their art, they were really not worried about whether it was an E or R. They were focusing on the negative and positive of that shape
Hmm.
and what that shape did in the actual artwork. That's why when you look at art from the 60s and 70s, where you see a lot of collage art and it's part of an E or part of an R or S,
Right.
and they might have ripped parts of it away, it is because of the shape interaction. And that's
Hmm.
how I still kind of look at a lot of this.
Right. All right. We're
Now,
on the same page.
yeah. Now, this one right here is from an old document that was like Portuguese, but it also, there's a lot of Moroccan influence and stuff in Portugal. So this was actually like a tile, like it came off of like a porcelain tile, like for walls or whatever. And
Right.
so I took this and I really liked the shape and the look of it. And of course, here again, using language as this sort of this sort of Arabic for the shape. I just thought the shape was so beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Now
I mean,
with
it
this
really
one,
is.
you can line it up and create borders. So some of these things,
I've
so
done that.
yeah.
I did that on this element right here.
Oh yeah, did you just
Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some softer red border there as well. Yeah, that's
Right.
just
I
beautiful.
see that. I like that. So you can sort of think about it like that, and you could just keep on lining it up for as long as you want to create borders. But
Right.
then you could come back the border like this. I might even come back with this little Asian one right here and kind of maybe insert it in some of the breaks. And you can
Right.
start building it up like
Sure.
that. There's so much, obviously. You guys will exceed me in the ideas that I've had because I already see it when I see people doing it. I'm like, oh wow, that was a good way of doing it. Oh, I love
Isn't that
that.
amazing? That happens to me all the time. And I love you mentioned that for those people watching live who weren't here in the beginning, you mentioned how exciting it has been for you to see how people have started to post what they use,
Yeah.
using the kits, what they make. We're going to need
Yeah.
to wind down in a few minutes.
Yeah. I think whoa, yeah.
We're a little over, but you know what?
You know
So
how we
worth it.
do it. Yeah.
Yeah. I
How's
mean, I
that
don't
song
think,
go? This is how we do it.
yeah, exactly. I don't think there's ever been a time you and I have connected where we haven't ended up
Like, yeah.
being together for hours.
Yeah. And we'll say, oh, we're just going to hop on for a quick 20 minutes. We both have a lot to
Yes.
do. And then we're like
2 hours
at it
later.
forever. So
Exactly.
this one is the Asian postal stamp. So it's like a stamp
Ah,
with look like a stamp that's been canceled with like a little postal unit in there.
yes.
So I love that one. And that
That
one
one
gets,
there.
so, because here again, the inspiration for this is mail art and field journals, like field notes, as well
Right.
as just, and moving that into your personal journaling. So I wanted to
All,
try to have different elements that would accomplish that.
all
And you can
those
keep scanning.
words really speak to me as well. You just say the word field guide and I'm signing up.
I'm here. Yeah,
Yeah.
me too.
Did you want, there is a good question. There is a person who wants to know, is there a hashtag? That's gorgeous. That you would like
Yeah,
people
there
to
is.
begin to
Thank you for
use?
saying it. Help me with my own business here. It's the stamp. The hashtag is stamping the Silk Road. So it's hashtag stamping the Silk Road. And please use that when you're putting anything up. And then we go through it and pull it, and I get to see what everybody is doing. So
Hashtagging? No, not hashtagging. Say it
hashtag
one more time.
stamping. Yeah, stamping the Silk
Stamping
Road.
the
Yeah.
Silk Road. Okay.
No, that makes sense. So yeah, so let me see. There's a few more stamps right here. I think I've stamped most of them. Could have missed a few. But yeah, I think this ink thing for me is a game changer. It just makes it all look so much more authentic.
I agree with you. As well, it's a combination of the ink you've chosen and also the paper that you're using because it just completely absorbs it and
Yes.
it makes it feel like it's been there and almost aged already
Yes.
because it's not perfect.
Yeah, it's not perfect. So
Not
here
perfect.
again on some of that paper that's been stained. A lot of times, and the fun of this sort of thing too is if you're working like this, where we're sort of creating elements, doing it like this. You could do this when you're looking at your favorite movie or listen to a podcast. And I'll stamp up a lot of paper. And then when I go to use it, like in this case, I would rip these, and then these would be individual little symbols, but they're all there ready to go. You can see here where this
Right.
is dried nicely. So you see that little bit of right there, that little bit of silver that's laying
Yes.
on there, along with these
Chip.
other stamps. And it's just, it's good to go.
One of the things that I would recommend to people is not to get attached because I know that there's people who are out there thinking when they see some of these little elements you're making, Oh, I could never tear that out. I couldn't use like they're too great as they are, and it's
Yeah.
easy to get caught up with that. But your artwork will be so much better if you take all the elements
Yes.
that you look at and think, "Oh my god, it's so great. I don't wanna ruin it." If you use that and put it in your artwork, that's how you become a better artist, and that's how you use the best things for what you're creating. So if you have that hesitation, to me, that's a signal to me that I must use that.
Yeah, I've got to do it. Yeah, I'm with
Y
you. So
Yeah,
even
you
looking
have to
at this
become
piece, go ahead.
fearless.
Huh?
You just have to be you have to be fearless
You really do.
with these things. Yep,
And you made it once, you can make it again. That's how I
correct.
look at it. But like here, even this piece right here, I can see, I think one of the things I would do is I might put a chop on here. So let me go ahead and get, well, I call this, it really was a chop that I took that from. But using a chop paste. And if you want to, when you have the kids, you're not sure what direction they go in. At the beginning of the storybook, for any of you who may be thinking now, how am I going to know? They're all
Mm.
here in the order they should be. So when you want
Oh,
to know
phenomenal.
what direction they go in,
Right.
you can see it here. And then otherwise, do what you want. So I'll take
Love
this
that.
chop, yeah, and put that there. Because I like to sort of build up these layers. And I think I'm going to do one little thing down here, and then I'll show you. I'll just, let's put some of this down there.
I hope
And
some of
go
you who
ahead.
are watching have been making things with this or with anything else. And if you
Oh,
have, feel free, to post it and tag us. We would
oh,
love to see
please,
it.
yes. I definitely would love to see it.
Because if you did it while we were working, even if it's using a different set of materials,
Oh,
there's
yeah,
inspiration that you've gotten from all of us collectively, the people watching, the people commenting, and us as we create.
definitely. So here I've kind of created this layer over layer. And then what I would do with this myself is I would probably take this section here and then just rip it out.
Beautiful. I love that sound.
So now we have some elements that if you go ahead and take them off, you can also appreciate them better, I feel. Because now you can see what you have and what. And I like things that go off the page. So I purposely will stamp things so it's going to go off the page so that it looks a little bit more, less planned, a little bit more,
Yes, it's not
authentic.
contrived. It's much more natural.
Right. So now I have an element ready to go just by, building a lot up on a page and then coming back and then because we're building on the same page, for instance, I would come and grab this and this can now be a layer that can be glued onto this piece I just took off, which is why I like to create sort of one color gel prints using those chalk paints that we talked about. Because then everything's going to go together. So then I can come back and get this and maybe do an overlay, like maybe right in here somewhere.
Oh,
And with
yeah.
that being glued down, it's all going to work together, right? I don't have to worry about the colors not working or, and you can just really.
To answer one of the questions that was asked, I am working on the kit, the Asian scripts, and Robyn has been working on both
Yeah.
together.
Yeah. So I can just glue that right on there. And then you can see where we're starting to get that buildup of texture and what have you, but how it works so well together, right? Because it's the same stuff. And then that's the kind of thing that when I'm working on my pages to create the pages in the journal, that I may come back with something like this. Say I work on this page here. So we're starting like this. maybe I'll work this in somewhere, probably like right there. And then I'll have old documents as well. So if you have some old documents in ephemera, then you kind of line it up. Let's see, I'm just sort of showing this kind of quick, but you can sort of see here where let's say that that's a direction I want to go in. You can see that the green that we made, the celadon, with these old original papers, how they just start working together.
Oh, it blends so well.
They blend
it really
so well
does.
that you can use them with authentic documents and really get the variety that you're looking for. And at the same time, if you don't have these documents, even if you get photocopies of them or something like that, you can see where these could stand alone as you make, like you start making different ones on different paper, and you can do overlapping and stuff. You can begin to build up some authentic looks without necessarily having to have, some of the antique papers if they're harder for you to come by.
For sure. So I have two comments. The first one is, I think, Robyn, you and I need to start an online game show. Amongst the things we should do is one of them should be real or fake.
Right.
And show a document. Is this real? Is this fake? Obviously, if it's fake, it's not really fake. It's just not originally 200 years old. The other thing is someone else has asked about the chop. Someone else has asked about the the red chop paint that you're using. So could you just explain?
These are this is an Asian, it's a paste. You can find this on Amazon as well. You just put in chop, CHOP, paste or ink, they'll call it. And they're designed to work with, and I will, because I have a collection of chops, because I love these things. And so, for instance, I may take, like working like this, like we've been working on this, let's just say, then this chop paste, this would be an original chop. These are out of like, sort of like a Bakelite material now, but the original ones will have some sort of bone or something. But the original use for them would have been to, so then you kind of get like a little chop mark there. And
it might be to
sign a
document.
Yeah.
It might be to sign a document. A lot of Japanese artists will have their name in chop, and they'll put it on. That's how they sign their paintings or their prints. And there is a question about, are there chops in the kits? And that I would say not original chops physically, but some of the stamp designs feel chop-like to me. Yeah.
This one wasn't chopped in this one.
Yeah. So this here, you might be able to see it.
Right. There
with
you
paint
go.
on
You
it.
can see it better.
That would have been a chop.
Yeah. And then this one right here would have been a chop.
If I walk away for a moment, and I'm still.
So, I mean, the one that I was using here was a chop, that red one. Now, also, some of the chops will be the characters or the ideograms. So this one may say happiness. Or so some of them will be individual words, like how we use stamps. It'll say happiness, peace, joy. Some of them say that as well. I don't know. Right. I just use them because I like them. But
I'm just going to show you. This is.
Go ahead. Let me see.
This might be hard to see. It is a Japanese print from Japanese artist.
Yes.
Whose name is Hakumaku. And if you look very closely, do you see that red mark there? So he will sign all his work with that chop.
Yeah, exactly.
It becomes a signature.
Yeah. So Jules says, "Oh, I have one with my name." Oh, that's so cool.
Yes.
I love those. And so I'm big on, mixing together any kind of vintage materials, anything that you already have. You know what I also like are those old like library book seals. You can come across them
Mm,
sometime. Like the scissors from
mm-hmm.
the library of or something of. When you find, I love those
Yes.
because they emboss in the paper, so you're not seeing actual color, but you're seeing an embossed mark. And to me, that adds to the authenticity. So any way that I can sort of get language or anything into the work, I'm always looking for those opportunities.
I love that. By the by, in the comments, and then we sadly will have to wind down.
Yeah, we
Many,
will.
many people either are very familiar with chops or very unfamiliar, and several people have their own. They use them as well
Yeah.
to sign their art, and I think it's really nice. Again, from a meta principle, that part of what you did by creating this journey on the Silk Road was
Mm-hmm.
to reflect the fact that part of what happens on the Silk Road is that cultures connect.
Yeah,
You
they
go
do.
to places and you find things that you maybe had no idea about, especially back in the day. And that's, I
Right.
think, exactly what you are doing by sharing this kit. And it's true to life because while we're discussing this, people are learning what chops are. No,
Yeah,
it's a
it's this
completely different
melding.
cultural phenomenon.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
the
chops
melding.
are
Yep.
like wax seals were in Europe, right? Very similar type of thing for important documents to keep things safe until they were broken open. And
Mm-hmm.
to your point, when we think about terms like chinoiserie, like it's a term
Mm-hmm.
that you have in home design and certain furniture designs and stuff, that came as a result of the Silk Road. It was the influence of Asia that came down into Europe, into Italy, into France, and it was adopted. And so then that word grew out of the intersection. And you'll find a lot of designs, even like damask, all of those
Mm-hmm.
that you see mostly in European fabrics or silk. Silk originally came out of China. They still
Mm-hmm.
have some of the best silk because of the moth. It's the Bombay moth that is a bomb. It's like Bombex. It's not actually Bombay, but Bombex moth that's central to China, and it spins the finest, most beautiful silk. That's why silk from China was always considered to be like Asian silk was like the top. And then it would come down into the silk would come down into Italy, which is really known well for damask and textile weaving. And then they took those silks and put them into patterns. And so it's just, and a lot of the patterns from damask came off of carpets from Uzbekistan and places like that, those designs. So it's amazing, this amalgamation of patterns.
Really
And sometimes you
incredible.
just think of, oh, that's just that country or just that thing. But the
Right.
Silk Road was really responsible for a lot of that design amalgamation.
And going back to what we said originally, for those who came later, in our world today, this notion of making connections, this
Yeah,
notion of blending cultures, it's just so
yeah,
important. And
it
this is
is.
the perfect time for this to come out. Before we say anything else, I know there are some people at the live who weren't here at the very beginning. I just want to explain this if you don't have the full version that Robyn came out very recently with two kits from Schiffer, the publishing company. The boxes that they come in, one is Asian scripts, one is European scripts. They are the Silk Road Chronicles. They are gorgeous boxes that in this moment are empty because, well, this
Everything's
one
out on the
still
table.
has, yeah, everything on the table. So this is the European. It comes with these foam stamps. It comes with these amazing stencils. They are different for each of the kits.
Yeah. And
And
they're
it
designed to
comes,
be stencils and masks.
they're stencils and that. Of course they
Yeah.
are. Look at that.
Yeah.
Yes, these are amazing. I can't wait to play with those. And each of them come with two different 32-page booklets that not only are instructional and give you true instruction on how to use these items with different products, but it comes with journal entries, a story. Both of the stories and journal entries are different. It comes with these gorgeous imagery of some of Robyn's flat lay art. It comes with a special secret at the very back, which I'm not going to reveal. And there are two of them, and they are based on, or they're called the Silk Road Chronicles. Robyn also mentioned very early on, Janine is still here, she can put the links in, that she is going to be taking people on a live version of these. going next year both to Morocco later in the year and earlier in the year, Uzbekistan.
Yes. Uh-huh.
And there will be other locations as well. You
I'm
can
excited.
find all this information at Robyn's websites. I know that
Yes.
Janine will place them in there. If you're watching this on recording on anybody's YouTube, you will see below the links to all these sites will be written so you can click over. These book kits are available in my shop if you're interested, SethApter.com. You can get them at many places. We highlight that if you do buy them anywhere and you love them, and of course you will, please leave a review on any of the major sites. It will be very, very helpful because we want the third and the fourth and the fifth and the sixth and the seventh in the
Yeah.
series to come out.
Yeah, we do. And also, I just want to underscore back to, supporting small businesses. Seth has invested in getting the kits into his shop. And I really so much appreciate that because I feel that it's an action of, of faith in my work and what I'm bringing. So please, 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 if you're going to purchase them, come and get them from Seth first, and then if he runs out or whatever, then you and he can talk about that. But please,
thank you, Robyn,
because that means a
appreciate
lot
that
to me, honestly.
Robyn is a person who I've admired for many years. I've known for many years. We've connected on many, 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 many projects. And there will be future ones for sure. We keep talking about a few extra special ones, and we will make them happen at some point.
Yes, we will make them happen. We got to.
We will make them happen. So, Robyn, I want to thank you so much, both for bringing this to the world, for allowing me to share it, and just for being the amazing person that you are, and incredible artist. And highlight, before we hang up, the notion of the importance of exploring and knowing culture and history. Mm-hmm. Many years ago in a book that I had written, I asked a question. I think the question was worded in a survey. Do you think it's necessary or important? I don't remember the wording, to know art history to be an artist. And the answers were very wide and varying. Mm-hmm. And I don't think it's necessary at all. Mm-hmm. I don't think there's anything necessary, but I will tell you that spending time with Robyn over the years and mining her brain for the incredible knowledge she has about history, anthropology, culture, technique, artists, it's been really incredible to learn. And I would just suggest, in any way, shape, or form that's possible, for somebody to go down that rabbit hole and to learn a little bit about these kinds of things. It just anchors you. It doesn't, and it may change you, but it anchors you in understanding in a way that I just think enhances your skills as an artist.
It really does. And especially
as a human.
Yes. And especially things that you realize you become passionate about. I think when you do those deeper dives and you see that you're connected to a larger sea of artists, experience, and cultures, it really also gets rid of the imposter stuff, the think like, I don't know. I feel like, because when you just take workshops from different people and you're just learning from those workshops, which is common now on the internet, nothing wrong with that. But once you find something like expanding into understanding it culturally, not only will you make it more yours, but you'll discover things that you might not have been taught that you can then add in and diversify the way you're creating your art. So I'm a big believer of that, for sure.
For sure.
Thanks for saying that.
So absolutely. Thank you a million times. Thank you all for taking the time to sit and listen and watch and to play. Again, if you use these kits, tag Robyn. We would both love to see what you create with them.
Yes. Hashtag stamping the Silk Road.
Hashtag stamping the Silk Road.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Please, everybody, have a wonderful day, a wonderful weekend. And Robyn, I know I'll talk to you very soon.
Yes, you will. And thank you, everybody. Love you all so much.
Thank you. And thank you, Janine, for your hard work, following along and typing in the links. Be well, everybody. Take care. Bye now.
Bye-bye.